Uh, my name is Rakesh, and I'll be leading this session today for all of you. So before we start, I really want to thank all of you on this afternoon morning. You're all here, and to know more about what this session is and what topic which we have already hosted and what we're going to cover. So the session will be for 60 minutes, right? And I'll try to restrict it in this 60 minutes itself. And it would be more, I would be more happy if we are having an engaging session. Number one. Number two, if you guys have any questions, you can interrupt me or you can post a question in the chat box, right? I will ensure that we will take it up. Just to give a small background about our organization, Anveshan Business Solution is a tax advisory firm. We specialize in tax advisory, consultation, and startup funding, and various things we do around the startup ecosystem. To know more about us, we are just sharing our organization website. We request you can go through that, right? And we'll also be sharing our LinkedIn profile in the chat box. So you can follow us on the LinkedIn. We keep sharing a lot of updates on the various day-to-day updates, whatever happening around the statutory system and also around the startup ecosystem. So that's more about Anveshan. And today's session is about input service distributor, right? So we have named it looking back and looking ahead, right? So that you'll get to know in my upcoming slides. So I would like to thank Karthik to helping me design this PPT. Then our topic for discussion today is, does your organization have multiple location in India? Then itself input service distributor will be applicable, because that is where your common services need to get distributed among the various branch offices, right? Then it would be looking back at ISD, looking ahead of ISD, and what are the further course of action or steps we need to consider for ISD. Now, does your organization have multiple locations in India? If this is the first primary question one needs to answer, because the moment we say input service distributor, the concept itself comes into play when we have a common services, right? And the common services are received in one location. Like for example, there is a head office. Head office receives the various common services which are either consumed by various branches or different branches. That service which is consumed at head office level, the ITC which is charged by the external vendors, that needs to be distributed to various branch offices, right? That is where input service distributor comes into play. Now, one more. This is very important. Let us see what are the important timelines and what are the events which have taken place in last 1 year and why this ISD becomes today more important. This background will help you to understand more. It give you a lot clarity. On 11 July 2023, in 58th GST Council meeting, right, it was recommended that inputs, a clarification needs to be provided whether input service distributor as a mechanism, whether it is mandatory. That was the first thing. Second, it also proposed that amendment need to be brought in law to make ISD mechanism mandatory prospectively. So these were the two important items which were recommended by the 50th in 50th GST Council meeting. Then subsequently on 17 July, a circular had come, 199/11/2023, which gave a very which settled a lot of what do you call rumors around, and it gave a clarification regarding the taxability of services which is provided by one branch to another branch, right? And plus, it also had given a light on what would be the valuation mechanism for the internally generated services, right? So that's where it becomes a very important circular where I want everyone to mark it. Circular 199, right? It gave a valuation mechanism, and second, it also gave the what would be the taxability of services when it is between two branches. Then Then on 7th October 2023, in 52nd GST Council meeting, right, the recommendation had come in GST Council minute to give a definite to bring an amendment in the definition of ISD. ISD, whenever I say ISD, it is input service distributor, right? They had proposed an amendment in this definition of ISD, which is section 261 and section 20 of CGST Act, as well as the Rule 39. All these three things deals with the ISD. That is where a proposal had come in or a recommendation to amend these definitions and sections. On 1st February, right, 2024, we got our finance bill. In finance bill, we got a new definition or an amended definition of ISD, which we'll be seeing in our further slides. And they also amended section 20, which talks about the manner of distribution of this input services. What would be the manner of or what would be the mechanism of distribution of this input services? Finally, on 15th February 2024, right, through an official gazette, ISD definition became as part of the act, right? And the amendment had been done in the section 261 and section 20 by this official gazette. But this gazette notification came on 15th February 2024. So I want you to mark this date 15th February 2024 because from 15th February 2024 onwards, ISD becomes mandatory. That means to say one has to get registered one has to obtain ISD registration and start using the ISD mechanism for distributing the common input services. That means we need to stop the practice of doing cross-charge mechanism from 15 February onwards, right? So this date becomes very important, which is 15th February 2024. Moving ahead. Just a moment. So now just a detailed discussion here on every aspect. On 11th July 2023, as I said, GST Council meeting was held and important proposals were brought in to make ISD not a mandatory mechanism till that period. That means from 2017 till 2023, no one, the cross-charge mechanism cannot be questioned whether it's a right way of distributing the credit or not, because ISD, as proposed in 50th Council meeting, it was proposed to not make it mandatory, right? Then after 50th Council meeting, which I was discussing about the circular, an important clarification which comes out of the circular, right? They had clarified that there are broadly two options for distributing the credit. One is through ISD, and second, I want you to mark these lines, by issue of tax invoices under Section 31 of CGST Act directly to branch offices. These BOs represent branch offices, HOs represent head office. That means circular itself clarified that there can be two mechanisms for distributing the credit. One is ISD, second is through a cross-charge mechanism between the branch offices. Then second, it also provided what would be the valuation mechanism or how to arrive at the value of a branch office service. First, it said whenever there is an internally generated service, please understand there can be two, let us categorize our input services into two segments. One is internally generated services, and second is which we externally procure it. Now, what are these internally generated services? Internally generated services can be, for example, payroll service, accounting service, CFO service. These are broadly situated in a head office and are provided. These services are majorly provided to various branch offices, right? So the entire accounting team or the CFO generally sits in head office, and it also looks into the affairs of branch offices also. So that's a kind of service which is internally generated and provided to various branch offices by head offices. Now, what would be the value? Value one can be whatever is the open market value, assuming you considered the cost of the employee, which is the salary what you pay. That can be one of the basis. Assuming you have not done the cross charge between the branch office and head office on the internally generated services. On that also, circular clarifies that whatever value you adopt, in our scenario, it will be a nil rate because we have not taken any value, because we have not done any cross charge, right? So we are assigning a nil value to this service. So that means open market value will be the value of supply, right? So this was one of the important thing as a clarification which came out in this circular. Moving ahead. If anyone has any doubt, you can stop me. You can post a question so that I'll stop and maybe, yes, I think Vishal has a question. Can you unmute Vishal? Are you able to unmute Vishal?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Vishal, you
Yes,
are
sir.
you are
Yes, sir.
unmuted. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Go
Sir,
ahead.
my question is regarding that 15th Feb 2024, when you said that the ISD number is going to be mandatory. Sir,
Correct.
kindly emphasize more on this point, because I'm not able to understand this point. From where this mandation come from? I want to understand, sir.
Yeah. So now, as part of the amendment, there was a change in the definition of the ISD, right? And also this amendment based on 50th council meeting that we're going to make it mandatory prospectively. And this 15th February Gazette clearly says that ISD amendment of definition, and it has become mandated from 15th February for us to take take this mechanism for distribution of ISD input services.
Sir, it is mentioned in the gadget.
Gazette, yes.
But sir, in I have read the finance bill.
Not the Gazette, not the Gazette. We are bringing this mechanism mandatory based on this 52nd council meeting.
No, but the definition of ISD or everything is effective in the finance bill. It is written as we will bring notification, but as yet there is no such notification. So how come?
No. If you read, if you read the finance bill, right? They say section 11 to 13 of the finance bill will come into effect based on the Gazette notification.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Which is they are brought in on the 15th February.
Okay, going to bring already. Can you, sir?
Yes,
can you help to show us?
Sure, I will share that notification, Gazette notification in the chat box. Ravi, can you just share it? You can take help of Karthik. He can just share that Gazette notification in the chat box.
Yeah, we'll do that. Mr.
Immediately
Vishal, you will find it
Vishal,
in
you
the
can get that notification in the chat box.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question? Shall we move ahead? Yeah. Now, these were the important clarification which came out during the as part of the circular. Now, then in later in 52nd council meeting, it was proposed that we're gonna make or we're gonna consider this making ISD mechanism for distribution of credit mandatory, but it should be on a prospective basis. Whenever the amendment is brought in the act, it's going to be mandatory from prospective basis. Right? Yeah. So that was discussed in 52nd council meeting. Now, from 15th February 2024, right, ISD mechanism has become mandatory, and the definition change has taken place from 15 February, which I'll be showing it to you in my further slide. Now, the one important amendment or the inclusion which they have brought in as part of the definition is they have included reverse charge mechanism invoices. Now, before what used to happen, whenever there are reverse charge mechanism or whenever there are services received from a supplier on which RCM is applicable, right? ISD were not allowed to make the payment under reverse charge. But as part of this amended definition, they have included any payment which are part of 9.3 and 9.4, right, will also be part of the ISD mechanism. That is common services which are coming into reverse charge mechanism. Say, for example, legal service. ISD can make the payment and can distribute the credit to the various branches. Now, as we discussed earlier, cross-charge mechanism for sharing. This was a very popular method, right? Which was being adopted by many organizations where just on the basis of invoice, cost was getting shared from one branch to another branch or from head office to various branch offices. Now, as part of this circular, it has whatever we have done, they have legalized that mechanism. I understand many legal experts will say that this can be challenged, but for our common understanding, please understand whatever cross-charge mechanism we have followed, right? Through this circular, they have legalized this mechanism because cross-charge mechanism was nowhere there in the act. And we were doing as part of the practical to achieve the practicality of the transferring of ITC. This circular gives a legal stand to that. But will it continue? You can ask a question. No, the big the answer to the question is no, because from 15 Feb ISD is mandatory. Now let's look ahead now. Now whatever till now I have covered is all whatever we have, clarifications, whatever amendments have brought in. Now let's look ahead as part of ISD. Section 261 deals with the definition of input service distributor. This is the amended definition. Section 20 of the CGST Act deals with the manner of distribution of credit by input service distributor. It gives the mechanism of distribution. Rule 39 deals with the procedure for distribution of input services. And Rule 54 talks about what would be the invoice or in these special cases, which includes ISD. So these are the 4 important limbs of CGST Acts where you'll find references and which deals with the ISD, input service distributor. Now, as part of the definition, I'll just quickly read. Input service distributor means an office of the supplier of goods or service or both, which receives tax invoices towards the receipt of input services, including invoices in respect of services liable to tax under subsection 3 and subsection 4 of section 9. This section 9 and of subsection 4 and subsection 3 deals with there are certain kinds of services which are covered under a reverse charge mechanism for or on behalf of the distinct person. Distinct person means the branch offices, the persons who are registered under the same PAN, as referred to in section 25, and liable to distribute the input tax credit in respect of such invoices in the manner provided in section 20. Now, what are the important elements of this section? First, ISD is someone who receives invoices for input services only and not for inputs or capital goods. This is what you have to bear in mind. It's only for input services and not for capital goods or inputs. Number 2, it issues prescribed document as part of the distributing ITC. There should be an ISD invoice for distributing the tax credit as prescribed in Rule 54. Then tax paid by an ISD under reverse charge can only be distributed to branches under the ISD rule. Now, whatever RCM is paid by ISD, right? Those only can be distributed. But no cross charge mechanism will be allowed from now on. ITC is distributed only to units having the same PAN. An ISD can only come in when there are branches registered under the same PAN. Moving ahead. Now, next question is what are these input services which are covered under section 9.3 and 9.4? These are the broad examples which I've given, which are commonly utilized by various organizations, right? One is sponsorship services, legal consultancy services, GTA, that is goods transport agency, import of service, and service by an insurance agent. Just quickly touching upon import, I'll just give few examples. Import of service normally will happen when a larger organization buys a lot of this, for example, Microsoft licenses are bought or this antivirus licenses are bought, right? So please ensure that while getting this import of services invoice of it, right? The GSTIN to be provided is of the ISD, so that the ISD can pay the GST and the reverse charge, and based on the consumption or the turnover which are there's a mechanism which is provided how that ITC need to be distributed. The ITC will get distributed. Same thing for other services also. If you have any specific doubt on these services, you can raise your you can let me know. Otherwise, let's go ahead for the. And anyways, I've covered in my subsequent examples also I've covered. Moving ahead. Now, what are this? Why was this ISD getting or being mandated by the statute now? And what are the advantages? These are the broad advantages. The ITC which is getting accumulated based on these expenses gets distributed fairly among the different branches because there is a mechanism which is already specified. Right? Then consolidating credit at a central point. All the major credits or the common services gets consolidated at the head office so that the distribution can happen seamlessly and it can reduce the administrative burden also. Then and obviously a proper accounting of these ITs of this common services also at an ISD level is also one of the advantages. Now, how to distribute this credit? Now I'm coming to the compliance part of it. Now, before I move further, does anyone have any question till what we have discussed here till now? Sandeep, Ravi, can you just unmute him? Sandeep has raised his hand.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Yes, Sandeep. Ravi, I've unmuted him.
Yeah, Sandeep, you can go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon. So my question was
afternoon.
this: is registration for ISD is required only if the division wants to cross charge, but if the common services are only few in number, for example, audit fees and the insurance and few others, only 2 or 3. If the division chooses to absorb the entire cost by itself and not cross charge. And secondly, if we ask the vendor to issue the invoice separately to each of the division separately, then ISD also will not be required, right? In both the cases.
Correct. Actually, you answered your question in the second part, meaning you've
Okay.
asked, what if the common services are very few?
Yes.
Then maybe, as you rightly pointed out, you can tell the vendor itself to do a separate billing for various branches and head office. That is number one.
Okay. Okay.
And number two, assuming you say no, we don't want to do and we want to absorb the cost at head office level, then it would be it would be a irregular or an excess availment of credit at the head office level, and
Okay.
it will amount to a reversal of credit to that extent.
Okay. Okay.
The consequence of that also I've covered in my further slides.
Okay. Okay.
So am I So am I clear? Have I answered your question?
Yes, it is clear, but our thing was, well, because if it is only the few invoices, then the creation of ISD and monthly activities is additional hurdle for us, right? Additional headache.
You're
So,
right. So that
so
is
it
where I
is a
think
cost
you can tell.
benefit.
Yes, you can tell your vendor to do a
Mhm.
separate billing for the various branches and head office.
So our only issue is with the statutory auditor, who is a Big Four. He is not agreeing to issue 2 invoices. He will issue only 1 invoice for 1 GST. So it is where is our problem.
Because now I get your problem,
Okay.
but now where now see there's no cross charge mechanism now. Even if you
Okay.
do through a cross charge mechanism, it will not be um, a, a right way of doing it because it will not be considered by the authorities. ISD is
Okay.
only mandatory prescribed mechanism now.
Okay.
You have to make them understand.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll see how it goes. And
Okay.
worst case, we have to incur the cost register under ISD. We have to register and proceed with the monthly compliances.
No, I'm sure if you able to explain them the issue, they will definitely
Okay.
come out with a solution for you. I'm sure that. Because
Okay.
they are also aware of this concept, right? ISD.
Yes.
They also know that cross charge mechanism is no more accepted. So they will definitely understand your issue and they will come out with a solution.
Okay. Okay.
Sure.
Thanks. You.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thanks for raising that concern.
Yeah.
Ravi, I think Atul sir has also raised his hand.
Yeah, Atul sir, you can go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi Rakesh.
Hi, Atul sir.
My question is, it's like in one unit, we have purchased few laptops, maybe 100 laptops in one unit. And out of that 10 laptop, after some time or immediately, we want to move to the our another unit in another state. So as of now, we simply raise the invoice, pay the tax to this state, send the laptop to another state and take the credit in that state. So
Okay.
is that still workable?
So
It's not the
now,
common credit or something.
correct.
It only thing because from we purchased 100 laptop or 200 laptop from Dell at one location.
Correct.
And after some time we found that okay, 10 laptop or 20 laptop we need in Hyderabad location.
For the same client, employees
No,
are sitting in Hyderabad.
not same client, it's a first company.
Correct.
It maybe
For
we
the,
don't need 100 laptop at one location. So out of the 10 laptop, we want to move to other location.
okay. So
So
you're
as of now,
asking,
what we are doing, we are raising the invoice in one location, paying the tax, and take the credit in the location while receiving the laptop in that location.
now since ISD mechanism is only for the input services, right? I think what you are following is, I mean, there is no other way then. That's why I think that will have
Okay,
not
so only for
any
services,
issues.
not for goods.
Not for goods. It's only for services. It's only for input services.
No, you are given the examples like software licenses and all those things.
Those are services, no, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Continue.
Thank you, sir. Now, how do we distribute this credit? One moment. Yeah. Now, how do we distribute this credit? So it's very simple. CGST can go as intrastate of the same state ISD because mind you, wherever you take ISD registration in that particular state will have two registrations. One the regular registration and another would be an ISD registration, right? Sorry. So CGST will go as CGST or it will go as IGST to any other state. Similarly for SGST and IGST also. Now, as per section 2, they have prescribed a very simple formula. I don't want to get into detail of it, but just to tell you, there is a formula which is prescribed under the CGST Act. which says what would be the total amount of credit to be distributed based. It's purely based on the turnover, right? And aggregate turnover. You'll get to know this when I take up in my further slide an example. You'll get to know this formula. Now, section 54, rule 54 talks about the invoice formula which need to be used. What would be the format for an ISD invoice? That is covered under rule 54. It is mostly similar as a normal invoice, right? But it talks about the credit distributed from one branch to another branch. There's the invoicing as per rule 54. Then, now after understanding that what was the history or timeline of the ISD, how it has come, how it has become mandatory, then we have seen the definition. We have also covered the the various parts of the circular and what ISD definition has been included with the RCM mechanism which they have included, that any services which are payable under RCM can also be paid by an ISD. After understanding all of these things, the next immediate thing, what we will have to do is obtain an ISD registration at the head office or whichever office which receives the common services. That would be our first step. So the next question, it will be, can I have two ISD registrations? The answer to that is yes. Wherever you receive common services, right, that office need to obtain an ISD registration and need to distribute the input services to other branches. Second, after obtaining the ISD registration, reach out to your suppliers and make it and get it updated in their system or in their database that these services need to be billed to this GSTIN now, because it has to get auto-populated in GSTR 2B of ISD. That is very important. So after obtaining the registration, reach out to your suppliers and get the database updated with the ISD GSTIN number. Next would be filing of returns and credit distribution. That we will cover in our further slides. Now, as I said, registration, an ISD must register separately as an ISD apart from its regular GST registration in the state. An ISD registration is specified in REG1. That is a form which we fill, right, for taking up a registration. It is available. You have to check this serial number 14. This registration is required before the ISD can distribute the tax credit to the recipients. Then, as I mentioned earlier, you have to, after post obtaining the GST registration as ISD, we need to ensure and inform suppliers of common credits so that the GST credit starts flowing in GSTR 2B and distribution can happen based on the decided matrix of sharing. Then important, which are the returns which we need to be filed, and ISD can distribute the credit to the recipients, right? And the ISD must file a return which is GSTR 6 by 13th of the succeeding month. Every 13th you'll have to file a GSTR 6 which is for an ISD and which will provide the details of the various receiving. It's just like a GSTR 1 basically. GSTR 6 is nothing but a GSTR 1. Then ISD can access information about the ITC available in GSTR 2B return, a statement reflecting the eligible ITC as per the invoices uploaded. Now, when I say a statement reflecting eligible ITC, the next question will be, Rakesh, does it require only for us to distribute eligible ITC? What about ineligible ITC? Those also need to be distributed separately. Now, for example, if there are 10 invoices, right, out of which 8 are eligible, 2 are ineligible, how do we distribute? Is it at invoice level? Do we need to distribute? No, you need to distribute simply based on 2 invoices. Whatever the eligible credit total of 8 distributed to all the branches, and ineligible credit 2 invoices distribute to all the branches. So it's only eligible and ineligible which gets distributed into invoices. Am I clear at this point here? You may start posting yes, so that I get to know that yes, it's clear. Okay. Now, there was a question, right? What would be the consequence if there is a wrongful distribution of ISD or there is an excess amount availed by head office itself? So there will be recovery procedures. It would be deemed to be an inappropriate distribution by the ISD. Credit distributed to all or any recipient in excess of the amount available for distribution will. Now the question is, what all aspects are covered under inappropriate distribution, or when a distribution is called inappropriate distribution? When an excess amount is available for distribution, or when an inappropriate ratios are adopted for distribution, right? So in all such scenario will be covered and will be called as a wrongful distribution of trade by the ISD. What are the consequences of wrongful claim? Now, as per section 122(1)(9), a taxable person who takes or distributes input tax credit in contravention of section 20, which we just saw, which talks about the manner of distribution, right? Or the rules made thereunder, shall be liable to pay a penalty of 10,000 rupees or an amount equivalent to tax evaded, whichever is higher. Now, if there is any irregularity in distribution of this credit, this will be the penalty which will get attracted. Now, this is a simple scenario which I just wanted to show. Now, if there is an advertising company who provides a brand advertising and invoice is raised on a head office which is in Bangalore, right? Then it is a common service. First, it will be treated as a common service. Second, the invoicing need to be done by public TV on the ISD registration. That is the ISD GST need to be mentioned. Then the ISD need to transfer the credit to various locations. This is the simple mechanism which needs to be followed. Then, now these are the quick examples which I wanted to share. Now, before I get into example, does anyone have any doubts? Yeah, Govind sir.
Sandeep again.
Yes,
Yeah.
Sandeep.
So in our case, we don't have the head office branch office structure. We have only two divisions of the legal entity, and both are independent. So anyway, so which will be the head office? So based on turnover or asset. That is the actual case in our company. It is actually we have two divisions, and each division is independent. We have different businesses, different budgets, policies. Everything is separate.
But they're under the same pan.
Correct.
Okay.
So anyway, which will be the head office in this case?
No.
Any guidelines in the act?
No. You need not label anything as head office. The reason I used most of the places as head office because that is broadly the concept of the business scenario in India today. There is one head office. There will be branches across the cities.
Okay.
Now, if your structure is such that there is no concept of head office, both are independently working or two divisions, but under the same pan. And but there is billing activity which happens at one location, which gets the common services, right?
Okay.
Then ISD is applicable. Still, the input service needs to get distributed. Then no need that there is a requirement of an head office. Head office is just referring in a general term.
Okay. So ISD can be taken in either of the states.
Not either of the state. Wherever you receive common services.
Okay.
Or where you receive common services and where you receive invoices for common services.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Govind had.
Rakesh sir, I have one question. Is there any specific transactions or like all the ITC can be like distributed?
When you a specific transaction meaning?
Means any particular kind of services should be shared or like it's applicable for all the service?
No. This is only for the common services. Now, where the consumption happens in one place, but it is commonly applicable for all. For example, audit services, insurance
Okay.
service, then
Okay.
what else?
This capex purchase, the another person was talking, like I bought 100 laptops and later the requirement 50 of laptop is required for the Hyderabad location. If I send that, I can bill that.
Yes, yes, you can raise an invoice on that. But ISD will not be applicable in this scenario for laptops.
Okay.
Because ISD is only restricted for input services.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. This information we need to show separately in any of the returns.
Which information?
This
ISD.
what ISD information?
Yeah, I just mentioned, no? GSTR6 is the return which we need to file for ISD.
Okay,
We need
from
to obtain
when it's starting?
15 February. This is applicable from 15 February.
Oh, okay. Okay, we need to start it. We don't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll connect you like after this
Sure, sure, sure.
for help. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Bobby. Yeah. Any other question, or we'll just move ahead with this?
Yeah. We have
Sorry?
one more query from
Please,
Vineet
please.
Agrawal.
Yeah, please.
Can you please elaborate on what services can be covered under ISD, as there are many services taken at the head office level which are in no way attributable to branches. Example, secretarial services, legal services, management consultancy services, etc.
Yeah. So, Naveen, right?
Vineet Agrawal.
Vineet, yeah. So, Mr. Vineet, whatever examples you have pointed out, these all are common services. Management consultancy service, secretarial services, or audit services. These all are common services which are consumed at head office level, right? But need to get distributed to various branches. Now, you asked how to identify what is a common service. Now, assuming a branch office would have been an independent entity, right? It would have also taken up that service independently. Like for audit service also would be applicable for to them. They would have definitely consumed that service also. So that would be a common service. I hope I have clarified.
Yeah, Vineet, you can unmute yourself, and you have anything else you can talk.
Thank you for elaborating on this. But we are working on this IST. We are taking registration, but most of our consultants says that all services, whether they are common or not, you have to go through ISD mechanism only.
No, 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 no,
So
no.
I am not sure about that. We have to go by this.
One moment. It is not about who I am saying or anyone else is saying. It is about the definition what it tells. No.
Yes.
One moment.
Yes.
I'll
I
just
just want
read.
to know what the definition says for and on behalf of the distinct person.
Yeah. So can you just see my screen? I've just
Yes,
we
yes.
can read together.
It's visible.
Yeah, input service distributor means an office of supplier of goods or service or both, which receives tax invoices towards the receipt of input services only, including RCM, for or on behalf of distinct persons referred to in section 25. And liable to distribute the input tax credit in respect of such invoices in the manner provided in section 20. That means to say, wherever the services are received, not just invoices, services are also received at a head office level, right? But those services are pertaining to a branch office, particular branch offices, then only the distribution criteria gets satisfied, and then only ISD and then only it will be called as a common service.
Okay.
Not all services need to get billed to ISD, only the common services.
So, in my view, then only audit fee and just security services, if the bills are coming at actual level,
There
that can be covered under ISD only.
insurance also, sir. Insurance,
Insurance. Okay, okay. Godown insurance.
secretarial services, management consultancy services, then
These will be covered
legal
under ISD.
services.
Will this be covered under ISD? You are
Yeah.
saying that these are common
Yes.
services.
Yes, these are covered as an ISD. ISD is basically a mechanism or a virtual GST which we are creating, who will receive all the invoices and it will distribute the credit.
No, but for secretarial services, how the branches will be getting benefit for that?
Now, assuming the branch on its own, if it had to obtain the assuming head office was not there, there was only one branch office independently.
Mhm.
It would have registered on a GSTIN as a private limited or LLP. It would have required there would have been a requirement for it to get the secretarial services.
Mhm.
Now, in your scenario, head office is consuming all the services, keeping all the secretarial activity at head office level. But otherwise, this would have definitely been also be required to obtain by the branches also.
Okay. Okay.
I hope I'm clarified.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ravi, there was another question, right? One more person.
Yeah, Vatyanand, you can unmute and go ahead, please. Vaidyanand, sorry.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
We are having Chennai one ISD registration available, but
Okay.
our corporate office in Pondicherry, all the common services accounting here only. So we have to obtain one more ISD registration head office in the Pondicherry office.
Now, are you receiving all the services in Chennai office only? All these common services?
It is a certain hotel bills like this only we have received Chennai. Others all services and received bills only Pondicherry office only.
Okay. Now, when you took this ISD registration Chennai office, that point of time you are receiving common services in Chennai office, right?
At that point of time we are using for hotel bill in the for hotel purposes we are giving them the local tax only. That purpose we registered Chennai office and distributing to branch office. But now your new is coming. Then all common services like audit fees everything is received in the main office, Pondicherry office only. We have to register along with regular registration. One more registration ISD.
Yes, at your Pondicherry office also, at the Pondicherry office also.
We have to register one more ISD registration office and distribute to all branches.
Yes.
Okay, but that registration also we have to register both ISD available, no problem. Huh? We have to register.
No problem. No problem. No problem.
You can run both.
Yes, yes, yes. Wherever, whichever branch or wherever you receive common services.
Okay, sir.
Right. That branch needs to register for the ISD.
And to distribute the
credit.
This is effect from 15th February 24.
Yes.
We have to register immediately and then start immediately from next month.
You're right, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Ravi, are there any other? Because I can't see if anyone has raised hand.
Yeah, we have one more. Ravindra, you can please address your query.
Yeah, so hi Rakesh.
Hi Ravindra.
So this was with respect to the previous question by Vineet. So that common services also includes the internally generated services like HR, CFO, and then account stream that is serving other branches.
Yes. Now, what would happen if you see the circular, no, 199, they have provided a clarity on what would be the valuation mechanism also.
Right. Okay, got it.
So that is very, very clear.
But sir, sir, internally generated services in ISD, there is a clear mechanism that we receive the invoices from the third party. But in internally generated service, we don't receive any invoices. So how come we distribute the same from the ISD mechanism?
Now what happens where you're incurring the common cost? See here at the, say wherever the CFO, wherever the accounting team, these people are sitting, right? You have already incurred that cost. Where you're incurring this internally, where you're incurring this cost, this cost naturally should get distributed to various branches also. Take it other way. I'll just give a same example. Assuming the CFO services was outsourced, right? If we
That
would
is a
have,
separate, but that is a separate scenario. But in most of the cases, CFO is in house, and most of the salary incur on salary
Correct.
part, and
Correct.
that's why that should be not come under ISD mechanism. If that is in house mechanism.
No. There is no option for us to say what has to and what has to not. It has, it was already there. Whatever is internally generated service as part of the circular, right? They have already mentioned the mechanism also, how to distribute the credit and what should be the valuation mechanism. So we have
Got
very
it.
less
Thank you,
choice there.
Rakesh.
Yeah. Ravi, shall we move ahead, or are there any other questions?
Yeah, sir. A small poll we are launching. Please kindly everyone respond to that. Yeah, sir, you can move ahead.
You launched a poll, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So now I'll be just quickly covering the simple examples, right? Now, in this example, Mumbai is the head office. It has taken the ISD registration also, right? Now, the distribution will happen based on the turnover, which is prescribed as per Section 20 and rules therein. So whatever is the turnover of various states, that will be the pro rata of those respective states, right? And that will be the credit distribution. Now, the catch here is there is one more state, which is Gurgaon here, where we are not registered because from Gurgaon, we are providing pure exempt supplies. Now, does this state also need to be distributed credit? The answer for that is yes. We also need to distribute to a state which is even if it is not registered or it's providing, because it's providing pure exempt supply, the distribution must happen to this state as well.
Rakesh sir, sir, how come it is possible ki branches, if there is any unregistered sale, that is not registered, because the aggregate turnover basis registration is mandatory to all PAN.
Yes, if you see Section 24, no sir, it clearly says wherever you're providing purely exempt supplies, right, you need not register. And Section 24 is overriding section to Section 22 and 25.
Okay, sir. Okay.
I hope I have. I'm
okay, sir.
here.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, Mr. Venkat, I think he has one doubt. Ravi, can you just unmute Mr. Venkat?
Yeah, it's Vaidyanathan. You raise your hand. Can you please go ahead with your query?
Yes, sir. We just have a few more slides. I think we are almost close. So I would request, because these queries will help everyone to understand their issues, even if they did not have. Yes, Mr. Venkat. I think Ravi, you have to unmute Mr. Venkat.
Yeah. Yeah, Venkat, you can go ahead. Unmute yourself, Venkat.
Hi Rakesh, I'm Venkat.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
you're saying that it is to be distributed by the turnover. How do you get this turnover figure? On what previous month's turnover or the previous year's turnover, or how?
No, this turnover would be based on your previous year. Sorry, it can be a previous month. Yeah. See, now what happens?
For example, I incur some expenditure in the month of February, which is to be distributed to head office and branch, right? Okay. And what is the turnover I should consider? Should I consider the February turnover as the basis, or can I consider
previous
January?
month turnover? You can take some.
Jan.
Perfect. Yes, yes,
Okay.
Jan month.
Okay. Now I have one more question. Like, we have one in Tamil Nadu, one in Gujarat. Okay, by and large, all the expenses, all the invoices, whatever we have is all raised in the name of the company which is in Tamil Nadu only.
Okay.
So if you see, like what you were saying, that software licenses, then this audit fees, management consultancy services fees, all those are
Right.
definitely coming under this common services, and it has to be
Common input
distributed.
services. Correct.
Common input services, right? It has to be
Right.
distributed. So I
You
do
have-
understand. Yes, I have to get an ISD registration for Tamil Nadu for sure.
Yes.
So there is no option. We have to get an ISD registration.
You have to.
So
You
now
have
I get all these invoices for these services with the ISD number, correct?
with the GST of
With the
ISD.
ISD registration. So in the name of the ISD or maybe the ISD registration number, because the
Yes.
company will remain the same. The name of the company will
Yes,
remain
yes.
the same.
Yes,
So
yes.
we have to give this Tamil Nadu ISD registration number and get all these invoices, and then we'll have to distribute the input tax on these services between the Tamil Nadu office and the Gujarat
Yes, to
office
the
based
regular.
on the
Yes.
turnover.
Yes, to the
Correct?
regular Tamil Nadu office and to the Gujarat office.
So based on the previous
The
month's
turnover. Yes.
Okay. Now you're also talking about this internal
Internally
common
generated
services.
service.
Internally generated common services like.
Yeah.
See, for example, we have two HR department is available in Tamil Nadu. We also have HR department in Gujarat, but we have a vice president who sits in Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
So that vice president salary is the highest salary for as far as HR department is concerned. So do I have to consider that as internally generated common services and then
See,
try to evaluate?
No, see, there is a catch in this circular 199. Okay, I'll just open it for all of you. Just give me a moment. See, there is a second question. Can you guys see? In respect of internally generated services, there may be cases where head office is providing certain services to branch office, for which full input tax credit is available to the concerned branch office. Okay. And however, HO may not be issuing tax invoice to concerned BOs with respect to such services, or the HO may not be including the cost of a particular component such as salary cost. Now, there was a query raised that for this internally generated services, as when I'm doing a valuation, right? Assuming I don't include the salary cost.
Okay.
I may just include the overhead. Just when I'm valuing the service, I may not include the salary cost. Is it a right mechanism? The question was asked. Here, what they have said. In case we're okay, the value declared. One moment. Okay, we'll just see. The value of supply of service made by a registered person to a distinct person, right? That is to a branch office, needs to be determined based on Rule 28 of CGST rules, read with subsection 4 of section 15. Now, as per clause A of Rule 28, the value of supply of goods or service or both between the distinct person. So 28 sub-rule A or subclause A talks about the value of supply of goods or service between the distinct persons. And so the value will be the open market value of such supply. Right? Now, assuming whatever value you assign for the internally generated service, that will be the open market value. There will be no question asked, why have you not included the salary cost? Now, that is where I wanted you guys to read this circular and understand, even if you see in this last paragraph, further, in cases where full input tax is available, if HO has not issued tax invoice to the branch office in respect of any particular services being rendered by HO to BO, that is head office to branch office, the value of such service may be deemed to be declared as nil. Meaning, Venkat, as you were saying, there is a VP salary, but we don't want to cross charge.
Correct.
In that case, the value which you don't want to cross charge also is accepted scenario, because what they say, it is a open market value. Whatever cost you assign will be the value and no question asked.
Okay.
Even if the value of such service may be deemed to be declared as nil by head office to BO and may be deemed to be as the open market value in terms of second proviso to Rule 28. So that is where I said this is very important circular. It has brought in lot of clarity. I hope I'm able to clear a doubt, Venkat.
Yes, Rakesh. Yes, yeah.
Do you want me to share
Okay.
this with you?
This is rule. This is circular 199. No, what you're talking.
This is circular CGS, circular 199. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll just tell Ravi, can you just share it in the chat box? He'll just share it to the.
Yeah, you can. If you can share it to my email ID, it'll be good.
Yeah, please share your email ID, sir. We'll mail it to you soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Ravi, any other question? Or shall just move ahead with the. There are just two more
Mr.
examples.
Vaidyanathan, do you have anything else to talk?
I'll just take Ravi. I'll just take up this example. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Maybe just yeah. So in this scenario, what had happened? I have 3 registrations, right? Mumbai is my HO plus ISD registration is taken. I have received common services in a form of CGST credit and SGST credit, right? Now what I have done, the distribution to Bangalore has happened through IGST, Kolkata through IGST, and to Mumbai it has happened through CGST. This is what I wanted to show to you guys, that when you receive a credit which is CGST, SGST, it has to be transferred to other location in form of IGST, and to the same location it has to be CGST, SGST. Yeah. I'm moving to the. I think this is the last question. So now, assuming there are ineligible credits, the question raised was, is this also required to be distributed? The answer to that is yes. So we have distributed this, that as I think there's some small error. It is 450, 450. Sorry, it's IGST and CGST. My mistake. So 450 as IGST and CGST, SGST as 450, 450. So that means ineligible credit also needs to get distributed. Yeah. So we have come to closure of this session, and Ravi, you can share them our LinkedIn link also so that they can follow for our regular updates. And
Sure.
And I thank you for all of your patience. I hope the 60 minutes was worth of your time, and there was a lot of learnings, especially for me also. So would request your quick feedback for the session, and stay updated for our regular updates, which you'll receive on our LinkedIn. And I'm still here for next few more minutes. If anyone has any questions to ask, we are here. Yeah, I think Bhavya. Ravi, there is one. You have to unmute Mr. Bhavya.
Yeah, Bhavya, please go ahead.
Yes, madam.
Bhavya, you can unmute yourself and please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, madam.
So one of the unit is STPI and the other units are non-STPI units. So in that case, even for the STPI unit, are we supposed to register the ISD?
Yeah, if they are receiving the common services, yes.
Yeah.
Because there is no differentiation in the status of GSTIN in terms of STPI or non-STP unit.
Okay. Because there we would not be taking the credit actually. So like
Because you
audit
would be taking.
services. Yeah.
Huh.
So all
Okay.
audit fees and all would be for the head office itself, and we don't get a separate bill for other units as such. So we would have to cross charge the credit in that cases.
Or maybe you can, if there are very few services, right? You may tell your stat auditor to raise separate invoices.
Okay. For that unit separately.
Yes.
Okay. Got it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ravi, I think we have 2 more people, right?
Yeah, Sriranjan sir, you can go ahead, please. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah. Rakesh sir.
Yes, sir.
After the ISD making mandatory,
Yes, sir.
the significance of that circular 199 still will continue?
Yes, sir. For the past, it continues because a lot of things which we have done on a cross charge mechanism, right? So for past, it does continue, and for the future, where other than for input services, where we are providing laptops and all those things, right? Where ISD may not be a useful mechanism. I think my view, in my personal view, cross charge still continues. Other than input services.
Okay.
Does it clarify, sir? You have any other view, sir?
No, just ask the, as far as the internally generated services is concerned, the variation what spoken in the circular would still have implications even after this ISD mandatory.
Okay. Do you want to tell more about it?
No, sir. It is always a question. It is open the questions to the forum. That's all.
Ravi, I think there are a few more people who have raised hand.
Hello. Sachin Kumar, yeah, you can go ahead, please.
Hi, sir. So actually, I have a doubt that if registration is compulsory from 15th of Feb, is there any last day to take registration or any penalties imposed if you are not taking registration in IST?
No, you are planning to take or you're planning not to take at all?
We are planning, but it might take time around this March end or
as
March or April starting.
One of my practical experiences, whenever any implementation happen, no, the field also understands that 15th Feb they have said, 16th Feb you cannot expect that registration should be ready.
Yes.
Some reasonable time period will be understood.
So you have any idea what might be the reasonable time? Anything?
You please go ahead and take the registration as soon as possible, is what I can say. And stop using the cross charge and start using ISD mechanism, is what I will say. After, see, do not have any cross charge mechanism after 15th Feb. Number one. Number two,
okay.
Start adopting ISD mechanism for any distribution. So you can accumulate, or because it will take time for you also now, because you'll have to inform your vendors to start billing on the ISD, what do you call ISD GST. So practical difficulty and practical timelines, department will also understand. But you start applying as soon as possible and start implementing this. But there is nowhere mentioned what is the last date. So consequence is only what I've said now, right? Section 122 is the only consequence. 10,000 or whatever is the excess credit you have availed. That is only consequence I see.
Thank you.
Ravi, is there any other question?
Hello. On Vaidyanathan, you please go ahead. You can unmute.
So one small doubt, sir. Head office in Pondicherry, we have to one regular registration and one ISD registration. While distributing the invoices, one part to head office, another two part to branch office. Is it correct, sir?
So you have to also distribute to head office also.
Oh, head office also. One part based on the turnover.
Depending on turnover, yes.
Yes, based on turnover, you have to one part head office, another two part and another two branches.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Venkat, do you have anything else?
Yeah, in fact, I wanted to ask whether there is any timeline for getting this registration, ISD registration. Now, Rakesh has already clarified. Anyway, but we have never done this cross charge, like, within the branches, like so far. Will there be any problem for the common
Has your-
services, whatever we have already?
See, for 23-24, for the current year, you still have the opportunity, I feel.
Okay.
If you have not done it, kindly do it.
Okay.
For the past, okay, now we have to wait and watch.
Okay, understood. Yeah. Thanks, Rakesh.
So, Ravi, have you given our LinkedIn link where we?
Yeah, sir. It's been shared out.
I would request all of you to subscribe to our LinkedIn link where we keep sending these updates, and you'll also receive a notification for our regular. These sessions will keep going on, not only for GST, income tax, for FEMA, for various things. So do follow us on LinkedIn. Yeah, so we are almost nearing to close of our session. Whatever, if you have any further doubts which was not clarified, I would request you to reach out to me personally. My mail ID, Ravi, can you just paste my mail ID in the chat box?
Yeah.
That is my mail ID, and you can put down your question, and we will reach out to you in short period of time. And do mention your mobile number also in case we want to talk to you. So it was great having all of you. Thanks for your time, and look forward for the upcoming session soon. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.